So I'm just gonna warm up with an oldie but goodie, just so folks get the flavor. This is going all the way back to 19 some. You know, I'm gonna tell on myself because I got my Silver Sneakers membership. I got the free membership. You know, I ain't getting the AARP card. I don't need AARP. You know, if I get the Golden Buckeye card, I'll use that for discounts in different places. But I'm going back a ways, and this is something that I wrote when I was a student at Kent State University back in the day. I do this to the accompaniment of a band sometimes, but obviously ain't no band here. So we're gonna stretch our imagination and pretend, okay? This is Hip Hop 101, and it's called A Campus Fairy Tale. I was walking through the student center. The time was 1:45 when I looked into the TV lounge and saw this fine chick glued to the tube. She had her hands on her face, Salem in her finger, Pepsi on the arm of the chair, eyes on the screen, mind in the trance. She wanted to find herself a new romance. She looked up through the glass and said to me, ooh, how do you do? I was watching General Hospital and then I thought that I'd watch you. I've seen you here, I've seen you there, and I do like what I see, so since you standing there and now you know, why don't you come on home with me? Now, I was shocked to hear the sister sitting there rapping these cold lines to me, but I shrugged off the shock, collected my thoughts, and replied, I'd like to see the thoughts of your mind, the essence of your soul, the curves of your hips, the softness of your lips, the length of your hair, your manner debonair, the grace of your walk, the smoothness of your talk. Did I leave something out? You said, no doubt. And listen here, I'll tell you why. I got one life to live as the world turns in these days of our lives, and if I didn't have the doctors, I doubt if I survived. You see, all my children are the young and the restless. They used to live in Somerset. My love of life is on the edge of night, and without these I'd be dead. I see Maybelline, Mr. Clean, Spick and Span is my best friend. Without my scope, there'd be no hope. Chicken of the sea is a tuna for me. I shake and bake my soul and Coca-Cola. Motorola is a tube I view. I wash with Tide, I wipe with 409. No static cling, I bounce in my machine. McDonald's is a place for me. You see, the heck with Ponderosa. The steak's too high and much too dry, and Burger King is much more closer. So now you know what I'm about. Do you still want to come to the pad? Because I can guarantee when you're with me, it's the best time you'll ever have. I said, ooh, good God, I'm scared of you, girl. A rap like that is hard to match, but if you got the time, I got the time, so be inclined to listen to my rhyme. I drive Mercedes-Benz 450 SL. My Pierre Cardin, they fit me well. I wore my crown with a Stetson hat. I cover my feet with floor shine spats. I got a king-size bed in a king-size room with a padded quilt and an electric broom. My pad is 87 stories high. Picture window, perfect view of the moonlit sky. My wine is vintage 77. My Jag will take you half past heaven. I got thermo, atmo, room air control. I can fry your buns or freeze your toes. My radar range has a microwave, no gotcha for me cause I Norelco shade. My sports is ABC on an 80-inch screen. I don't go to the show, I got HBO. My Pioneer receiver pumps the coldest tunes to Pioneer speakers in every room. Talk about records, I got stacks of wax, cataloged and sorted in my record racks. 33s, 45s, 78s, a different song for every day. Backgammon, chess, whist, Monopoly. I'm a firm believer in variety. My carpet is shag, 3 inches high. My plants get hypernext so they don't die. Push button phones with a musical tone. My home is cold stone down to the bone. So if a good time is what you really want to have, then you ought to drop a dime and come straight to my pad now. A wise old man was walking by. He had a long gray beard and a twinkle in his eye. He looked at the lady and the young man, spoke in a way he knew they'd understand, and he said, I've heard the rap from both of you, but in the book of life your rap won't do. There's much more to life than material things and the pleasure smoking, drinking, and your music brings. It ain't about the clothes you wear, the expense of your boots, or the length of your hair. It ain't the binge you sport, the habit you support, or the clubs you choose for your disco blues. It ain't about the men you hate, the women you date, or where you roller skate. It ain't a 3-car garage with 3 fine cars or a split level crib with a basement bar. The keys to life are an open mind, some open ears, and an open eye. You have a soul that lives inside, a spark of love that will never die. You have a heart that pumps your blood and directs the course of your love. The kingdom to seek lies within. It has nothing to do with the money you spend. Look for love, peace, and happiness in your heart, because that's the place all good things start. Free your mind, and you will find a whole new you in a whole new time. Free your soul, and you'll control your destiny, and then you'll really be free. And then the old man said as he shook his head and walked away, I heard him say, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. All right. Okay, so we're not going to keep you too long, and I'm not going to overstay my welcome as the host. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce some fantastic talent to you. Now, the dudes be saying age before beauty, right? Okay, but what I would like to do is I would like to bring up a very young lady who is extremely witty and has dynamic poetry that will blow your mind. She is no stranger to poetry in Cleveland or anywhere else for that matter. She's doing fantastic things in that realm. As I said, she has featured at Larchmere Arts. She's also been tied to other groups, Lake Erie Inc. and others that are doing fantastic things in the realm of poetry right here in Cleveland. Without any further ado, please put your hands together, give a rousing welcome to Raja Freeman.
Can everybody hear me? Am I loud enough?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. People are all the way back there. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to start with the poem I wrote for Juneteenth. I read it 2 Juneteenth celebrations this year, which was exhausting, but I'm going to start with the poem that I wrote for that. This poem is called Water Cycles. History repeats itself like water. Water repeats itself like history. We learn in school that water holds on to a distant past, that we may be drinking the same water from decades or even centuries ago. Meaning the water raining down on us today could be the same water that left all those many people without a place to go after Katrina. Could be the same water in the rivers the Underground Railroad followed to freedom. The same water in the rivers the Negro speaks of. The same water we wash our curls in. Could be the same water we wade in, that God troubled. Could be the same water left rusted and undigestible in Flint's pipes. Could be the same water they found Emmett Till in. The water in the hoses they sprayed us with could be the same water that caught us when we jumped ship and held us tight until nothing hurt anymore and hid us where no one could find us again. This dirty water, this muddy water, this bloody water, guilty water, filthy water. Water repeats itself like history. History repeats itself like water. We learn in school that history holds on to a distant past. We're living the same history from decades or even centuries ago, which means the history raining down on us today is the same history that left all those people without a place to go after Katrina. The same history in the rivers the Underground Railroad followed to freedom. The same history in the rivers the Negro speaks of. The same history we wash our curls in. The same history we wade in, that God troubled. The same history left rusted and undigestible in Flint's pipes. The same history they found Emmett Till in. The history in the hoses they sprayed us with is the same history that caught us when we jumped ship and held tight until nothing hurt anymore and hid us where no one could find us again. This dirty history, this muddy history, this bloody history, this guilty history, filthy history. History repeats itself like water. Water repeats itself like history. Learning your history is just as important as drinking water. Thank you.
Okay, Roger.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been this pandemic that's been going on. What? Yeah, like they shut down everything for a little bit. So when the pandemic started, I was in my second to last semester of college. Right? Yeah. Or was it my last semester? Kisha?
We was in our second to last semester.
Second to last semester. I graduated with Kisha.
We graduated. Woo woo!
But I was still taking my creative writing, my creative poetry class, and creative poetry. And we still had to hand in poems and have class when we couldn't see each other anymore, and I had to keep writing these poems. So I started calling all of my poems crisis writing poems because it was a crisis, and I was writing. And then I started to notice that there was just more than one crisis going on at a time, and it just evolved from there. So I want to read a few of those. This is crisis writing number 18, also called Ode to the Broken Windows in My House. Wait, can I say bad words? Are y'all okay with that? Can I say fuck?
You said it.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Ode to the broken windows in my house. You persistent little fucks. You humbling reminder of our stumbling moments. The fly swatter swatted too hard. The arm crushing through you when someone's foot took a sleigh ride on a sock. The duct tape we never bought to coat how embarrassingly immodest you are. Why are there so many of you? Waiting to see how long it will take for someone to peck the little hazardous spikes of you from the tile floor is my favorite little experiment. You're everywhere. This is your home now. Reign over me, you bursted little aperture. You're like a portal to everything I've ever wanted. And I can't climb through without stripping my skin, thin layer by thin layer, down to my blood. I want to pass through you so bad. Want to be you. Want to feel both sides of the world passing through the wounds in me. I want to be cracked open like you. Want to be feared. Want people to be afraid of walking through broken pieces of me. Want the parts of myself I've shed to be strong enough to pierce the blood from anyone who dares to try to walk over me. I want your strength. I want to rule over someone the way that you do. Crisis writing number 20. A moon cycle is about 29 days, the height of which is the day it is full. An American cycle is 4 years, the height of which is the presidential election. A black life cycle is 4 years, the height of which is the presidential election. A black life cycle is 4 years, the height of which is the day we are full, or in full view, or of some use, or during presidential election. Presidential election pins black bodies to the night sky with a flashlight up their asses so the light can glow through their bullet holes, maybe make a few more pretty stars. A black life full moon cycle is 4 years, the height of which is finally remembering those that came to be full of holes outside of presidential election. What I'm trying to say is maybe we'll riot for Casey Goodson at the next presidential election. Maybe one of his best friends kneeling at a basketball game in his honor will matter to all you babies suckling at the media's tit in 4 years during the next Black Life full moon, the witching hour of the black struggle for power, the presidential election.
Okay.
Crisis writing number 24. Patrick Warren is shot and killed outside his home on January 14th, 2021, after yet another wellness check gone wrong. Everything I've seen since I saw the video of his last moments alive has existed through a lens of his murder. In other words, I don't remember how things exist as if this had never happened. I fail to understand it every time. I replay life in my head, disgusted at how it all failed to gel together. My dreams are clips of reality in montage. Get down, says the officer. Rise up, says Amanda Gorman 6 days later. Be the light, says Gorman. Lighten the skin, says America, since America has said much of anything at all. Children are the future, says the world. You're acting like a child, says another officer. I am a child, says 9-year-old girl, handcuffed and pepper sprayed. How could catastrophe possibly prevail over us, asks Gorman. By blunt force and power, says I, paying attention. Pay attention. I'm not here to give you hope. I'm here to tell you what you should be hoping for. How long have I been up here?
Not long enough.
Not long enough. The last one, like a short one or like a long one? All right, hold on.
Are we doing hounds or?
No. He's just like, are we doing hounds? No, I'm not going to do hounds, but if you go to YouTube and you put in Belle Freeman, you'll see my poem Hounds, and you'll see some of my other poems. You should do that. You should go to YouTube and you should put in my name. This is a self-advertisement because I'm awesome and I deserve to be advertised. So,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
also, some of my poems have been in this video collage thingy that this guy right here puts together. This guy right here, Keith. You should talk to Keith. He's awesome. Anyways, this last poem is Crisis Writing number 19. It's one of the best poems I've ever written in my humble opinion. There have been a lot of different theories on how the world is gonna end because of some man-made catastrophe. Like nukes, or climate change, or coronavirus. But personally, I don't like the sound of those. I think they're all a little too cliche. I think if I had to write the end of the world, I'd have a curious black child running their thumb across the horizon until they found the edge of a smooth strip of tape. And they'd start scraping at it with their nail until it peeled away. And there'd be nothing holding the sky to the earth anymore. And the world would just peel back like the top of a convertible. No flames, no sickness, nothing nefarious, just a collapse. Thank you.
How y'all feeling?
Woo!
Y'all need to give it up for that young lady one more time. I'm telling you, lines like hers, I have no doubt about this generation and the generation to follow, because they know what's going on. And they're not ignoring the things that we as older folks try to pretend don't exist. Thank you for such great poetry, Roger. And I'm looking forward to your next feature, Larchmere. I got to do my commercial too. I have a YouTube channel, and I post shows that I record on 95.9 FM and 1490 WERE. So you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see all the content that we're creating with the express purpose of raising consciousness. Speaking of raising consciousness, I want to bring another poet to the stage. As I said, she's a former feature, and she just blew me away with her poetry, with her insight, and on top of everything else, she's a fantastic gardener. So when they talk about food shortages, guess who I'm going to be knocking on? I'm going to be knocking on her door. I'm going to say, look, Danielle, you got any of them greens? Any tomatoes? You growing any watermelons? All right, I hope you do. And trust, I'll pay for them. You know, I'll pay. I'm happy to pay them. Anyway, she's another fantastic poet. She has competed on stages here in Cleveland and stages across the world, across the United States. She has fantastic work. Please welcome Danielle, Nicole, Nikki, Dixon.
All right, thank you everybody. We're gonna start with a recent one that I've written within the last 2 months. Hey Google, how do I care for a boyfriend? Do they come with tags on the insides of their t-shirts that say how much water and sunlight they need? Do I have to talk nicely to them like my houseplants? And oh my God, what do they eat? How often? Is it better to pick one in the spring or in the fall? And how do I test for ripeness? Do I tap his belly like a watermelon and listen for the hollow? If mine has not reached maturity, how can I set him in the sunny windowsill with my tomatoes until he's ready? Is there a boyfriend hunting season? Do I need a license or a permit? Do we keep them indoors, or is it more humane to let them be free range? And how does one keep a free range boyfriend from wandering in through the neighbor's back door? Do you know how pissed I'll be if I put all this effort into a boyfriend and he shacks up at the neighbors? I already know not to get them wet after midnight. That's how you make gremlins. And those do not come housebroken. And I don't want to end up in jail for parental neglect when Little Stripe burns the freaking city down. So maybe I'll just stay single. I think it's safer that way. So that one is Hey Google. So now this next one I'm gonna do is actually one that I wrote for a friend of mine who was doing a whole program about jazz, and he asked me to do a poem about jazz, and so I kind of combined an homage to my family, since they're the ones that introduced me to jazz and the history of jazz all in one thing. I call it Digging in the Crates. Digging in the crates, or was I time traveling? Searching for that soft crackle, the much preferred sound of needle on vinyl. A jazz tune playing softly in the background was the soundtrack to our lives. Digging in the crates, or was I time traveling? Searching for the descendants of the Harlem Renaissance, that first generation after we found our voice. Jazz was our griot that memorized our names, documented our lineage and its rhythms, telling our stories from Africa to America in drum beats and heartbeats, in spirituals and folk marches, documenting black spirit using only the black keys, from the blues to ragtime, from hard times to good times, remembering the warmth of other suns, long bus rides and greasy brown paper bags. I was digging in the crates, time traveling, listening for the place where the pyramids, mud huts, and tenements exist concurrently within the same 5 lines, where every song is a conversation, every instrument contributes to the story. Staves, notes, and clefs are hieroglyphs that document the greatness of our story. But you got a connected spirit to understand the conversation, baby. In the background, a horn asked permission to add to the story while I was digging in the crates, time traveling to the place where the walking bass replaced the tuba on the bandstand, and tormented souls become genius in expression, when love was always complicated, but we didn't give up on each other. We were all we had, and we were enough. I was digging in the crates. I found my grandparents in their heyday. They didn't have much, but they were proud, and they were emerging. My mother, a little girl, all pressed hair, saddle shoes, and petticoats. Back when you dressed up to go downtown, because Black America had something to prove. I found my grandfather's gate in the bass line of a jazz tune, smooth, steady, and keeping the family's time. I found my uncle on piano, playing a jaunty tune, witty and sarcastic, mocking our tragedy so that we never take ourselves too seriously. I found my grandmother's passion in the rim shot of a drum solo, the heartbeat of the family, full of booms, clashes, and escalations that mimic thunder and lightning, or the finale of a fireworks show. And yes, Langston, a dream deferred does explode. And then there's my mother, wailing like a siren, a horn flare, fire, guttural, urgent, trapped between tradition and destiny, and all she could do is wail. I was digging in the crates, time traveling, listening for that story. Jazz the Griot told me about jam sessions in intimate smoky nightclubs where musicians don't have to know each other to cipher. Improvisation is encouraged, and it don't matter if you don't have the horn you need to make the sound you want. Just scat that part. And if you brought your axe and you know what you're doing, just jump on in and get some. I was digging in the crates, listening for our story, sewn into the fabric of the music, where they talked about my grandmother's home cooking for members of Ellington's band while they crashed at our house during road trips because they couldn't stay at the hotel they just played at. Jazz the Griot, tell me that story again when Paul Gonsalves fell into the Christmas tree after partying too hard with my granddad because we don't have the pictures anymore. So I was digging in the crates, searching for the time Jazz the Griot told of my future present existence, brooding in the minor keys. I was digging in the crates, searching for comfort, feeling a little less alone. I was digging in the crates, channeling advice from adults than myself. I was time traveling because that's the only place where they're all still alive, still well, and their world was still full of possibilities. I was digging in the crates because I missed them. And that's literally how it goes. When I miss them, I'll put on some of those old records they left me and just, bring the spirit back, All right, so this one is a little bit shorter. This one actually appears in I want to say it's Neighborhood Voices Volume 2 through Literary Cleveland. This one is something that I wrote about. I was writing poems about the experience of losing a house that I owned that was in the family for a long time. And it's called We Are Not These Ruins. Will they find our pride amongst broken clay pots buried beneath the soil? Will they know we're not just civilized, but cultured? Will they know we turned the remnants of white flight into the pride of the black family? Will they know we are not these ruins? Will they know we came from slavery through Jim Crow, by way of Alabama, by way of Milledgeville, Georgia, by way of Short Scoville, and landed on this small plot of promised land where Kinsman and Union meet? Will they see our hand in the shaping of America and be proud? Or will they tell our stories as failure, represented by boarded up houses and empty lots? Will they know we are not these ruins? Will they know that before the windows got broken and the siding was stripped, this house was our ancestors' dream? Will they know that before the overgrown bushes, we had impeccably manicured lawns? Will they know we were an entire street of black homeowners just 2 generations past slavery? Will they know we are not these ruins? Will they know we were not Moynihan statistics? We were 2-parent households. We were marriages that lasted longer than 30 years. We were business owners in our communities. Will they know we were the sacrifice so that our children could forge their destinies beyond the red lines? Will they know our legacy was not subdued by this decaying infrastructure, but transcended it? Will they see the grassy lots left behind as blank canvas for descendants to start something new? Will they know we are not these ruins? All right, thank you. Now this last one that I'm going to do, and again, I'm sorry to have to read it off the phone because I gotta move my thumb, see everything. But this one is actually one that I wrote for Black's Museum project this year. So you can actually Google that. Black's Museum, spelled B-L-A-X. Yeah, and for 2022, and you'll see this amongst other projects there. I think I called this one What's the Recipe, but it's really an ode to Ntozake Shange. I wanted to write myself anew, but came home to find my pens were gone, paper gone, laptop too. No tongue, not even a throat to cry out from. Somebody done made off with all of my stuff. Must have happened while I was at work, working for most stuff. 2 jobs just to make it. Not to get ahead, just to make it. Early days, late nights, swollen feet, tired eyes, and after all of that, somebody had the nerve to make off with all of my stuff. No art on the walls, no music to clean to on Saturday morning, no books to get lost in, no paints, no canvas, no cheap wine, and my neighbor had the nerve to say, I should be glad they didn't steal my TV. But man, I ain't in there. I'm in the spine of the book, the feel of the word, the smell of the page. Somebody done made off with all of my stuff. And no one started a search party. No Amber Alert, no pictures stapled to a telephone pole. And the missing persons department made me out to be some kind of runaway. Like I'm the one stole me from me. Somebody help me. I need reinforcements. I need gang. I need Intozaki Shange to wash over me and help me pull off this heist. Help me get me back. Help me find my dance in the poem and the machete in my word. I remembered sassafras, cypress, and indigo made magic in recipes, used them as prescriptions. So I went to my kitchen to conjure some inspiration. Found my cupboards bare, no bowls, no spoons, no stove. You mean to tell me somebody made off with my stove in broad daylight and nobody saw nothing? They managed to leave my spices behind. How they gonna steal me and not take the turmeric ginger I need to keep the reflux down in the right of sac vein? Who's taking care of me? They need to give me back. Somebody made off with all of my stuff. And this time it was not a man. The lady in green taught me all about that. I would know what to do about a man, but it's a whole system made off with all of my stuff. Wasn't happy with my mama's stuff and my grandmama's stuff, all the way back to the slaves who were ourselves when we were the commodities being bought and sold. Same system that sold us the work harder bootstrap mentality. When the hardest working people I know still live right here with me between the red lines from 100 years ago, working ourselves to death. And we done heard enough victim blames and showers of shames and should have took better care of ourselves to kill us twice. What they trying to leave me with? Some busted down broad eating grease out of styrofoam boxes, preying on a number like it's a retirement plan, doping down the foolishness on TV. Too tired to smell my own stink or fish the remote out the couch cushions to change the channel. Somebody done made off with all of my stuff. And I'm tired of being the electricity that powers this mother. Making the rich man richer while I got ink staining my sheets from falling asleep with the pen in my hand because I got nothing left in the tank for me to rewrite myself. I want to stop running. I want to get off this hamster wheel of consumerism, rest my legs so I have something to stand on when I retire with somebody that made off with all of my stuff. And I need to pull this double heist, re-steal the whole property that is my sanity, pocket my own return on investment. Mama Shange, please tell me how I do this. Do I mix a dollop or a quarter of the magic in with my melanin? Was it a pinch or stardust with the melanin zest? Will it help me conjure up those field of dream type of spirits? If I create something, they will come. I need me back to mix the reds to the blues and sing the yellow in the poem because there is nothing else if this doesn't work. I just want to keep some of me for myself, to fill up my photo album, to have something left to eulogize when I'm gone. I want to share my stuff with whomever I please and live life open-hearted, delicate flower and passion instead of calloused in all the places I've been taken over and over again. Somebody made off with all of my stuff. But when I pull this heist, I'm installing a low jack. I'm never gonna lose me again. And yes, Mama Shange, I will. I promise I will find God in myself, and I will love her. I will love her fiercely. Thank you.
Danielle, more magnificence. Thank you for that. You know, as I listen to your poetry, I hear the evidence of a life well lived. I hear your experiences coming through, and it's reflective of the thought that you put into the words that come from you. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to move things right along and bring our next poet to the stage. I was just doing some calculating in my brain a few moments ago, and I realized that it was 18 years ago. Can you believe that? 18 years ago, she and I went to Chicago, Illinois as the first all black poetry slam team from Cleveland, Ohio. She was courageous. She got on some stages that I didn't have the courage to get on, and she did well. And we had a fantastic experience. We didn't win, but we had a great time. And you know, one thing that I learned from that experience, you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't look at a person and know the depth of the thought that takes place in their heads. As you've seen from Raja, who came up here and just blew us away with her insight, to be so young, but to know what she knows and to express what she expresses is nothing less than phenomenal. Same with Danielle, and now we're going to get a real treat from a veteran of poetry. She's been around for a minute. She's fellows and she's connected with all these great organizations. We're really privileged to have her here with us today. If you could, please give a rousing welcome to Kisha, Nicole, Foster.
Yo! We are the only moving thing. We're about to do poems. I also don't like reading from my phone. However, I left all these poems printed out, so I gotta read from my phone, but it's okay. This poem is a ghazal, which is a form. It's the first ghazal I've ever written in my MFA program that I'm at, and it's a ghazal for dead bodies. And mothers have puffy eyes, limbs loose, clutching dead bodies. Their child, a person that was carried and released, cold dead bodies. Their once toddler that ate first foods, now lifeless on a slab. Mothers are stressed and losing hair, mourning dead bodies. Losing smiles and lives. Mothers give up their spirit. Praise obituaries and religion weeping for dead bodies. Their children laid out in the streets of this wilderness, a breeding ground for made-up faces, grim etchings, and dead bodies. Police killings, children killings, sibling killings, stranger killings, gas station killings, parking lot killings, beach killings, dead bodies. Serial killings, calculated killings, war killings, dumb criminal killings, suicide killings, blackout killings, oops, I ain't mean it killings, dead bodies. The garbage on soaking streets are the cemetery for the slain. Telephone poles and trees, house flowers and balloons, blood of dead bodies. And the repetition does not end because the cycle of dying and decomposing continues. Dead bodies are what fuels the nation and the world. We can look at world hunger and infant dead bodies, starving and straggling, the made-up wars and fights amongst nations for money, no celebrations for life, only dead bodies, used on television as promise of hope and change. And the killings are in the form of diet and pork and processed food clogs dead bodies. Walking to a demise they stuff in their mouths as a 4 for 4 for 40 years. It becomes plaque, blocking nutrients that can't live amongst mucus. Dead bodies are animate objects named people, named working till death, named walking to the refrigerator, named balance the remote and a meal, named dead bodies. This is a list poem. Its intent is to list things. It is not to make you smile. This is a repeating phrase poem. People repeat, also dead bodies. This is a conjure. It's a spirit song to wail for the hearts that stopped feeling vitality, full of vigor. Then to a demise ascended to dead bodies. Life is morbid with bright lavender and coral blue hues. There are crimsons and blues. There are hums, dead bodies. There is rhythm in the song of death, a continuity of emotions we must learn where to place, a validity that we can miss and mourn dead bodies. Once mother, father, brother, sister, lover, friend, best friend, enemy, co-worker, cashier at the grocery store with a really nice smile, associates, dead bodies. The bus driver, the third grade teacher, the high school security guard, the college professor, the chemist, the historian, the librarian, the chef, dead bodies, the dope boys, the strippers, the hustlers, mobsters, mayors, presidents, small business owners, babies under 6 months, babies in the wombs, dead bodies. Him for the hymen that broke to give birth, to the hands that humbled with heart to rear the babies becoming adults, dead bodies. Becoming after life we never know, can just live life like our grandmother's favorite hymn, humming. Low, slow growl, dead bodies. Connecting dots from my third eye to the young woman in Chicago. Don't know her, yet her and I have been both screamed into the arms of a loved one. Dead bodies. A young woman down the way that listens to music and wails. A rhythm in the song for the hymen that broke. Dead bodies. Unclenching the jaw of worry and doubt and letting go, giving way to the tower of healing and silence that accompanies the loss of dead bodies. There are names that I, Kisha, holder of hearts and grief, remember. Astral praise. I keep my spirit away from funerals in reverence of my loved ones gone. Dead bodies. Going back to what Roger was talking about, I don't know if y'all know, but these poems, they just be talking to each other, really. That's all poems are doing, is conversing with one another. You see what I'm saying? So, and how does that happen? Because words that they say, okay, so I'm about to say these same words. And so then they talking to each other. And it never fails that every time I perform or somebody performs or they say, she said wellness check. And I wrote 3 poems during this program of wellness check. Cortez heard them. They, and so wellness check is us talking. Cycle, I said cycle, she said cycle, right? So I just like to point that stuff out. Also, this is poem is a wellness check too. This is for Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., okay? And so Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. was a black man in White Plains, New York. And so you gotta watch this show. It's on HBO Max. And I can't remember it, but it's about Kenneth. Google his name. Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., wellness check too. No white man was arrested for murdering another black man, terrified behind doors in White Plains, New York, in his home, where he rests safely with his heart failure and life alert. With 3 large wolves snarling outside his 1-bedroom apartment. A man gasping for air and sanity, scrambling a war-muddled mind to remember his American rights, hurriedly speaking final paranoid words to his children on the phone. Wolves bloodthirsty at his door. They snarl at his concerned niece in the stairwell. Mind your business. She rushes down creaky stairs, fearing for the life of her mother's brother. A wellness check, police named it. Needed to see his face. They bullied him to open his door. He said no 63 times. More police arrived. Crowbars cracked hinges. Weapons assaulted door of man's home. 1 shot took his life. A life alert is the reason you are here at this door, to help him, not to get black blood hungry, turn into rabid animals, snarling fangs at citizens. Why do you detest black bodies? Why are you scared of the racist energy that you created? Okay. And I'm about to rock out. I was told to rock out today, and so I'm about to rock out.
Rock out. Okay.
This poem is called Thursdays. It's Thersdays. It's hers. Thursdays.
Yeah.
We must contort our perceptions of others. Remove blurred blinders. Look through the kaleidoscope of inflated egos, important titles, and snappy phrases. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain. Low self-esteem is visible with thin smiles. Shovel and rake the gardens of self, I say. Turn the dirt over and harvest this land which is ours. Bodies, plasma and vein, heart-beating raindrops splashing on the shoelaces of hope. Enemy is self. We are surrounding the enemy with cheap off-brand imps. Fake hugs and plastic smiles get recycled on Thursdays. On this day, trash is prohibited. Do not look down on others. Boss up on yourselves. Sharpen your swords and sestinas. Slice palms and flood antique rusting daydreams. Topple a ladder. Brave the storm. Step out of boxes and into circles. A 360-degree 360-degree healing. Fingertips touching half-rotten tree barks around you. What are them? No more voices trapped inside umbrellas. Think first. Speak loud. Outstretch the airplane. Crash. Pollock. Change the rules. For the love of self creates a strong, secure love for others. And that is the absolute reason we must endure boulders of pain beating us pulpy. This is my last one. Thank y'all for listening to me. I appreciate every time. I appreciate just y'all listening. This never gets old. And I never get too big for my britches, as they say. I take it. I take this mic, and you are appreciating what I say very seriously. So thank you. This poem is called Completion. Means it is final. From a start came a finish. Ain't end. A new beginning to ain't end. It is an accomplishment, a fulfillment, a promise to oneself to go through the mud and muck, the lies and deceit, self-hate and self-abuse. It relates to being intact. It is an answer to a question. It is endurance. Running through rain, feet, painting, endurance. To abide, to persist. As a mosquito to your goal, smell the blood. Search the area for the blood. Puncture the skin and suck. To outlast and outlive. A survival tactic we have to remain, to wait, to endure, to linger. In the wind, strong standing tree barks, our leaves are to sway, yet our bodies are to endure. In any season, any environment, long and slow, we must suffer while working and eagerly waiting, while in movement, motion, kindness to our person and to others. Don't Quit is a poem. It is real. Life is alive. We are tangible and impressionable upon each other. So if I see you press on, then the impression left on me is to press on. It is a cycle, a repeat, repete, redo, out the box yet on your square. We are chess pieces on a board. Strategic our thinking and our actions must be. We must stop self-torture with our thinking. Will put us in a jail cell, put us in a box on a corner, under the watchful eye of a fist, daily beatings we put ourselves through. Confusing thoughts, evil thoughts, sexual thoughts, depressing thoughts, random thoughts that we have pondered over to no avail. We are dumb humans like that at times. Forgetting we are the answers to most questions. Forgetting forgiveness. Weeping willows, we are hunched over and rocking in a wave we are. 5 steps ahead of the game, yet think we know not what we know to survive. It's not easy, it's awkward, uncomfortable, itchy. We want comfort immediately. Instant gratification. Starches are to be cooked slow to retain texture and taste. Bechamel is a mother sauce and must be created with patience and respect. Risotto has to be babysat. Our dreams have to be babysat. We must patiently nurture what we create in the mind. Stop nurturing hate and pain. Nurture one's minds for completion. Struggling for good feels way better than struggling for bad. It is the simple things and thoughts that produce quality. We are the details in this pattern of humbling. Let ourselves be fine stitchings instead of tattered threads. Sweat and pain and fear for a positive change feels good. You are blessed when you step on faith and change. You are beloved. Blessed are those who endure, no matter the faith or what you may call God. Blessed are those who endure. Completion is a bittersweet, sweet topping. It is a savory cherry. Stand straight. Love yourselves. Pray. Peace.
Peace up.
I don't know if I'm going to touch his mic. Thank you, Nicole. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kisha. Kisha, Nicole.
Thank you, Ben.
I didn't call you out your name. I just called you by
That's
the
still my
middle.
name. I love you.
Okay, so we're winding down. I want to give you a poem or two and then call it a day. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I see that y'all found the shade. And with every minute that passes, there's going to be more. So, Kevin, eventually it will lead to you. And I also want to acknowledge your greatest work. She's sitting right there beside you. Her name is Love. Yeah. Beautiful. She's so sweet. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
I
mean, you know.
All right, so y'all have heard some fire today. I've written a couple of poems recently, and I really haven't had the time to memorize these. So I'm gonna go old school. You know, the young poets, they get up and they pull out the phone, you know, but these words have not migrated to the phone yet, so I'm gonna read them like I used to do back in the day. I used to show up at open mic poetry with my binder, and I had about 500 poems in them, you know, so I had a lot of selections, you know. So I'm gonna give you a fire piece, and it's a little controversial, so y'all hang on to your hats and put your thinking caps on, because you're gonna need it for this. Anybody out there ever heard the song by The Temptations called Ball of Confusion? Okay, there's a few old school folk here. I wrote this, and then I titled it because of that song. This is called As the Band Plays On. Strike up the band and play the anthem. Holler through the rain and storms on the horizon. Needle panacea scheme smoke screen for control by powers that be buying and selling souls, sacrificing self-control for jobs and dollars as the band plays on. DJ T and JB, two sides of the same coin. The Grim Reaper operates from a test lab beaker. Graphene oxide nanoparticles seeping into bloodstreams through breath-blocking face screens. Blue is the color in mainstream barrages of daily reinforced mindset massaging that leave little room for optimism on the isms that cause the widening of the schisms between the super rich and the masses, amassing copious amounts of false evidence appearing real, fueled by numbers under the influence of spin doctors, ODing on the power of suggestion through socially engineered ingestion. As the band plays on, LeBron sinks a 3 in the Staples Center as Baker connects for a TD on a field near Lake Erie. Netflix and Amazon Prime extend prime time to occupy minds seeking escape from reality, while Faustus flip-flops opinions and facts that change with the wind with no end in sight. No fight for the docile, transfixed on survival and lower vibrational existence. A 24/7, 365 struggle to stay alive or find a shortcut to heaven as the band plays on. Ya, Asantewa, please step out now, we need ya. Frederick Douglass, fire up that throat and bring the voice back to speak truth to authority. Sojourner Truth, awaken the troops and mobilize the forces of good to rescue. Marcus Garvey, your vision is needed in this dimension to deliver us from dissension. Shirley Chisholm, inspire with your fiery brand of political activism and boldness against all odds. Thurgood, marshal justice upon us from the halls that crush us with measured intention, needing divine intervention as we drop like flies from the uncertainty that denies equality. As the band plays on. Great and mighty ancestors, we call upon you to rise up in us and awaken the greatness that lies within us, the will of our souls and the strength of our spirit. Let our epigenetic excellence remind us who we really are, the strongest of the strong in the face of all adversity, thirsty for clarity, hungry for knowledge, freedom and sovereignty, liberated from oppression and living as intended splendidly in Nguzo Saba. As the band plays on. This is a short one, and I'm not going to do the other fire piece because I might scare some folks with that one, okay? This is a poem that I wrote as a tribute to brothers, black men. You know, Maya Angelou, phenomenal woman, Still I Rise, and it was all about the women. So I took it upon myself to do something for the brothers. Okay, it's called Red Clay. I am fire and Martian clay, ancient, present, and future. I am 10% what you see and the 90 you don't. I am the science that built pyramids on 6 continents, the math that floats boats and flies planes, the mental, metaphysical, medical expertise to fix brains without stitches. I am the boxer who beats opponents down without clinches. I am Jim Brown, Paul Robeson, Marcus Garvey, Jackie Robinson, Robert J. Robinson Sr., Akhenaten, all rolled into one. I am the story of a people hidden from view, known only by a few, written in architecture all over the planet. I am philosophy, history, pedagogy, and language pioneered and planted. I am carbon, melanin, original, divinely inspired by love. I am justice, patiently awaiting disposition. I am truth, blazing through the veil of the esoteric, dominant genes wreaking havoc on recessive sphere of Nubian enlightenment. I am the wisdom of the ancestors summed up in a single syllable. Om. I am the sky, the moon, and the sun. I am, therefore you are. I am, therefore you are. I am, therefore you are. And we are one. I got to do a shout out to Literary Cleveland. As you can see the banner up here. They're doing fantastic work in this community. They are publishing authors. Neighborhood Voices is a project that was in the past, and I'm sure that there will be future iterations of something that is like that as we continue to encourage people to engage in writing and expression, because these are the things that liberate us. You know, you can watch TV all day long, or you can be like Miss Dixon here, and you can open up a book and let it breathe for you. So if you're not a member of Lit CLE, all you got to do is go to the website. I'm sure that it's on this banner somewhere. Go to the website, become a member, support the work of this organization and all the people who benefit from it, including you. With that, I'd like to thank you so much for your attendance. And I'd also like to acknowledge the executive director back there with the glasses, Matt Winkham. Okay. Oh, Michelle. Okay, all right. And talk about writers.
Yeah.
This one right here. I didn't recognize it because she had the mask on. But she is a phenomenal writer. And in addition to that, she is one of the fueling engines for Lit CLE. I'm sure that Matt is glad to have her on staff, and I'm sure she's happy to be there. So thank you all so much. Enjoy Porch Fest, and look forward to next year. Hopefully we'll do this again. Peace, blessings, and prosperity. I don't know if I'm going to touch his mic.
Well, they know that before the windows got broken and the siding was stripped, this house was our ancestors' dream.
History repeats itself like water. Water repeats itself like history. Learning your history is just as important as drinking water.
I keep my spirit away from funerals in reverence of my loved ones gone, dead bodies.
As the band plays on,